Welcome to the Ranger's Respite. I'm Philip, and today I'm looking at a whiskey that is in round two, bout two of the Virginia Whiskey Tournament. And that is Springfield Distillery 1842, which is a whiskey aged in port-style wine barrels. But before I get into that, just really quick, if you like my show, if you like what I do, if you like the Virginia Whiskey Tournament and would like to support it, or the Single Malt Frontier Show, I have an Etsy shop. The proceeds from the sales there go to support the tournament, the show, and the Single Malt Frontier Show. I have, for example, very nice bourbon barrel stave pens. This one is a Jim Beam barrel stave pen, chrome hardware. It's a roller ball, so it's not as difficult to use as a fountain pen. Fantastic pens. I really like them. I'm proud of them, and I would like to sell a few to support the show. With that out of the way, this stuff. Now, this has spent all of its aging time in an export barrel, which means that it can't be considered bourbon. It's just simply whiskey. And look at that color. Let me move my head. Everything is in mirror, so it's hard to tell. Look at that color. That is wine red. And it is very, very porty on the nose. There's that like rich raisin, bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, cut vegetation. If I didn't know, I don't know what the mash bill is on this. I suspect that it is a bourbon mash, but I can't say for sure. But it's definitely grain forward. I think that it's got some like corn shininess, but it's got some of those like dark, like coffee chocolate notes that I associate with wheat. It's surprisingly dry on the nose for a port aged whiskey. Sweetens a little bit on the palate. More of that like rich raisin, vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon. That like grain shininess remains present. You can definitely taste that 50% alcohol by volume. It's a little bit spiky in the mouth. It is sweet in flavor and drying in nature, if that makes sense. It's got the sweetness of those raisin notes, that vanilla, and it's coupled with an alcohol percentage that is slightly drying, and the effect is sort of a tonal whiplash, because a great number of whiskeys that are sweet whiskeys don't have that mouth drying alcohol effect, even if they're slightly higher proof. And that's just sort of an interesting feature of this whiskey. Coming back to the nose, there's a little bit more oakiness showing through now. And sort of a brandy-like note, which is interesting. I mean, it makes sense. Most port, as it is fortified, is fortified with a brandy made from the same style of grape. So the finish isn't terribly long. It's all that like grape skin tannin, like cut vegetation and like sort of a dried grassiness layered in with that slight sweet grape note. It's interesting. Now, as those of you who know the channel, you will know that I ask and answer 3 questions. Do I like it? Yeah, I do. I think that it is a very interesting, very enjoyable whiskey. It has it is unique in its port influence. The second question, do I think it's a good value? Yeah, I mean, I paid $44.99 for this, not including shipping, because I ordered it directly from Springfield Distillery, and I think that it is well worth the price that I paid. If you see this on shelves, I recommend picking it up. It is vastly different than, for example, Angel's Envy or Isaac Bowman. It is a completely different animal, and I recommend buying a bottle, trying it out, because it will change your perspective of those whiskeys. Like I've mentioned before that, you know, there's a balance to be struck between your finish and your like original aging, original spirit, and the ideal is somewhere where they're roughly equal. And then because this is aged entirely in export barrels, it's a circle. Its flavor is that, and it's really interesting, and it sheds a little bit more light on the other port finished spirits that I have had. The final question is, do I recommend it? Yeah, absolutely. I think that everyone should try every whiskey if they like whiskey, except for maybe the bad ones. But I really like this stuff. I think it's an interesting and unique whiskey, and I recommend it to pretty much everybody who likes port finished whiskeys or fortified wines in general. With all of that out of the way, this Wednesday we're doing a stream for the Single Malt Frontier show. We're going to be talking to Rick Wasman of Copper Fox Distillery. I'm really excited for that. We're going to try to ask him questions about the malting process, use of fruit wood. It is going to be a fantastic show, as it always is, in my humble opinion. But until then, stay happy, stay geeks, sláinte.